Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and I'm going to be doing a Speedroid deck profile. So I'm really excited to see you guys because this deck is an amazing synchro based deck that can summon out one of the most powerful synchro monsters ever created, Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, which is an amazing card to be able to summon in this deck. This deck is hands down one of the most fun synchro decks you'll ever play and is just a really awesome deck. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name in the description of every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron, along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Speedroid Ultra Hound. This card is a great 3 of in the deck that has the ability that when this card is normal summoned, you can send a Speedroid card from your deck to the graveyard, and then during the main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard to target another Speedroid monster in your grave, shuffle it in the deck, and if you do, you special summon a Speedroid Synchro monster from your extra deck with the same level but a different name, but you negate its effects. That is a really awesome effect that this card is basically a walking Foolish Burial, while also having the ability to be able to summon an extra deck monster by just shuffling one of your cards back in the deck. That is a really insane effect. We then play 3 copies of Speedroid Marble Machine. Marble Machine is pretty much the Stratos of the deck that has the ability that when it's normal summoned, you can activate the effect to add a Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand, but it does lock you into win monsters for the rest of the turn, which is not that big of a deal because the majority of the time that's all we're going to be summoning anyways. We then play 3 copies of Tekatomborg. Tekatomborg is hands down one of the best cards in the entire deck next to Marble Machine because it has the ability that if you control a win monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And you can tribute this card to special summon out a Speedroid Tuner monster from your deck. Also, you do get locked into win monsters, but that's again not that big of a deal because getting the exact tuner monster that you need on your side of the field is huge in this deck to be able to go in for the exact synchro monster that you want to summon. We then play 3 copies of Speedroid Car Turbo. Car Turbo is also a great 3 of that can special summon itself to your side of the field that has the ability that if you control a win monster, you can just special summon this card from your hand. Also, you can't activate monster effects for the rest of the turn except win monsters, and you can manage this card to be able to add a Speedroid monster from your graveyard, and then all win monsters that you can currently control gain 800 attack until the end of the turn, which is pretty good to basically just boost them up with this card. We then play 2 copies of Din Din Daka Duke. Din Din Daka Duke is a good 2 because it has the ability that you can banish this card from the graveyard to special summon a Speedroid Tuner monster from your hand or graveyard except another copy of itself, which is a pretty good effect because you can basically just use this card with your copy of your Hound to be able to just send this card to graveyard and get one of your tuners on the field to go in for a synchro play. We then play 2 copies of Red-Eyed Dice. I like 2 copies of Red-Eyed Dice in my build because it's just a really good card to get the exact level that you need, because when this card is normal or special summon, you can target a Speedroid monster that you control except another copy of itself, declare a level between 1 and 6, and it becomes a level until the end of the turn to get the exact level that you need on the field to go in for any synchro monster that you want to summon. We then play just a single copy of Piper. Piper is a good 1 of in the deck. I don't feel like you need any more than 1 of this card because it has the ability, if this card is normal or special summon, you can excavate cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of other win monsters that you control, and then add 1 of the cards from your deck to your hand. Also, for the rest of it, or put the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order, and you can manage this card from the graveyard and then target 1 level 3 or higher win monster that you control and reduce its level by 2, which helps you go in for some synchro plays. We then play just a single copy of Terratop. Unfortunately, we can still only play 1 copy of Terratop. It is hands down the best card in the deck that has the ability, if you don't control a monster, you can just special summon this card from your hand, and when it's normal or special summon, you get to add a Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of itself. It's so good. It's just such an awesome card in this deck, and hopefully it comes back to 2 or 3 on the coming lists. We then play a single copy of Rubber Band Plane. Rubber Band Plane is a good 1 of in the deck. You only really need a single copy of it because if a monster is special summoned to your field, then you can special summon this card from your hand, but it does lock you into win monsters for the rest of the turn. And if this card is normal or special summon, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field and loses 600 attack points, but basically it's just here as a level 5 extender. We then play 2 copies of Tetherwolf. Tetherwolf generates a token when it's normal summoned to your field, which is a great effect to be able to just get an additional token on your side of the field, and it will boost its level level up by 3 while the token's on the field, because Mega Phantom Beast monsters all increase their levels by the level of all the tokens that are on your field. So this card will actually go up to level 7, which will help you get into copies of Baron de Fleur. We then play 2 copies of Wandering Griffin Rider, which is a good basically cyber dragon for the deck that has the ability that during your main phase, if you control no monsters or you control an adventure token, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand as a level 7 wind monster, which helps out this deck a lot to be able to just get that monster on your side of the field to climb into all sorts of different synchro monsters. This plus card turbo basically equals you a copy of Baron de Fleur, which is just a really awesome thing. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's really good because it basically just stops the opponent from touching the deck. So it's a fantastic 3 of in this deck to be able to just stop them from touching the deck and searching the deck while we're going for our synchro plays. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing quite a few good ones in this deck. We're going to be playing a single copy of Monster Reborn, which is just a really good extender for the deck to get the exact card that you need back out of the graveyard to your field, so you can go for synchro plays or bring back one of your powerful synchro monsters that you use to climb into another monster. We then play a single copy of Harpy's Feather Duster just to deal with back row. This card is really, really good because we have cards like Crystal Wing that can deal with monster effects, but Harpy's Feather Duster will deal with the back row for you. We then play a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is a good one of in the deck as well, just to stop your opponent from hand trapping you while you're going in for your plays. We then play 3 copies of Speedroid Wheel, which is one of the most interesting cards I've ever played because it has the ability to discard a card and then you roll a 6-sided die and then special summon from your hand or deck 1 or 2 Speedroid monsters whose total level equal the result, which is kind of an interesting effect to have, but it negates their effects, and if you do not special summon a monster off this effect, you lose life points equal to the result times 500. That's one of the most unique special summon from deck effects that I've ever seen in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's a really cool card, and it's an overall fantastic 3 of. We then play 3 copies of Speed Recovery. Speed Recovery is a great 3 of as well because you can target a Speedroid monster in the graveyard and special summon it, and then during the main phase, except turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard and then target a Speedroid monster in the grave and add it back to your hand. So this card overall gives you 2 really good uses, and so you gotta play 3 copies of this card. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Duplicate. Duplicate is a good 2 of in this deck as well because it has the ability to banish a wind monster from your graveyard, and you get to target 1 card your opponent controls and return it to the hand, which is a pretty good effect to get one of your Speedroid monsters that you need in the graveyard while also bouncing a card to disrupt your opponent's plays. It also has the ability that during your main phase, if this card's in the graveyard, you can target a level 2 or higher Speedroid monster you control, reduce its level by 1, and if you do, you special summon this card as a normal monster that's a machine tuner, wind, level 1, 0 attack, 0 defense, and then you just special summon this card to your field, giving you a tuner monster so you can go in for your plays. Fantastic 2 of in the deck. Really don't need 3 copies of it. I really like 2 in my build because it gives me so many plays in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is a great 3 of in this deck because basically it has the ability to target a face-up monster opponent controls and negate its effects until the end of the turn. And if you don't have a card on the field, then you can just activate this card directly from the hand, like a hand trap, which is really good. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Super easy to summon to your side of the field, hands down one of the most powerful synchro monsters ever created, and it just handles monster effects so easily because it has the ability to, once per turn, when another monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can negate the activation if you do destroy that monster, and if you do that, this card gains the attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack until the end of the turn, which can make this card absolutely humongous, and if this card battles a level 5 or higher monster, then this card can gain attack equal to current monster's opponent's attack, which is just really good during the damage calculation only, which can make this card even bigger and can basically OTK your opponent almost single-handedly. We then play a single copy of Kite Drake. Kite Drake is a good 1 of in the deck that has the ability, if this card is synchro summoned, you can activate an effect to destroy all the cards on the field or negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls. This card is absolutely nuts in this deck. it's just really, really good to be able to summon this card and destroy all the cards on the field. It also has the ability, if this card in your possession is sent to the graveyard by opponent's card effect, you can add a Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand, which this card just keeps getting better and better in the deck with all the effects that it has, and it's just a fantastic one-of. We then play a single copy of Clearwing Rider. I really like Clearwing Rider as a one-of in this deck because it's just an overall fantastic card. It's 3,500, it's a level 10, so it's easy to summon this deck. It does take a Wind Tuner and one other Wind Synchro monster to summon this card, so you do have to Synchro summon before you summon this card, but it's super easy to summon the deck, and it has the ability to, once per turn during your main phase, you can roll a 6-sided die, and then shuffle Wind monsters from your graveyard into the deck up to the result. Then you can destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number shuffled into the deck, and if you do that, this card gains 500 attack for each card destroyed by this effect. This card is a really good card in the deck, and can help you pop multiple cards on the field and get absolutely massive while recovering your cards. It also has the ability that during the opponent's main phase, you can quick effect tribute this card, and then special summon out 2 level 7 Wind Synchro monsters with different names from each other from the extra deck, which is an okay effect, but usually you're going to want to keep this card on the field. We then play a single copy of Baron de Fleur, which is just a really, really good boss monster overall in this deck, because it can give you additional pops on the field while also being a walking negate. So this card is a really, really good one-up. If you don't have Baron de Fleur, you can change it out for Satellite Warrior. That's another option for you guys. Or Clearwing Fast Dragon. If you want to change it out for Clearwing Fast Dragon, that's probably the card that I would change it out for, is a copy of Clearwing Fast Dragon, which is just a really good card in the deck as well. We then play a single copy of Virtual World QB, which this card can basically just end games on its own, because any card sent from the field to the grave is banished instead. So this card is a great Wind Synchro monster to summon to your side of the field. One copy of Wind Pegasus. This card is a card that I use to climb into some of my level 10 monsters, because it has the ability that when this card's in the graveyard, or excuse me, well, you can banish this card from your graveyard and then target one card your opponent controls and shuffle it into the deck. So you can use this card to climb into other cards, and then use this card in the graveyard to banish it to shuffle one card back in the deck, which is really good. One copy of Stardust Charge Warrior, which when it's synchro summoned, you can draw a card, which is a really good effect. One copy of Virtual World Beast Juju. This card is a really, really good one-of in the deck, because it can be destroyed by battle or by card effects. We have 2 or more monsters in the graveyard with the same original type and attribute but different names, and you can manage 2 monsters from your graveyard with the same original type and attribute but with different names, and then target one card on the field and send it to the grave, which it doesn't destroy, it sends, which is a really good effect. We then play a single copy of Chambara, which can attack twice, which is just a really good thing to be able to do, and climb into this card super easy because it's just a level 5. One copy of Hagodia. This card is a good one-of in the deck as well, just to be able to go and climb into other plays. 2 copies of Cork. Cork is a good 2-of in the deck, and is a fantastic card that has the ability, if this card is synchro summoned, you can activate one of these effects to add a Speedroid spell or trap from your deck to your hand, or if all materials that were used for this card are synchro summon that were used Speedroid monsters and they're in the graveyard, you can special summon them, all of them, which is a really good effect to basically just get the materials back on the field. With this being a tuner monster, you can climb into some really powerful monsters or get a spell or trap card search, which is really good. We then play 2 copies of Rubber Band. Rubber Band is a good card as well. It's the only Link monster I play in this deck, and it's really easy to summon because during the main phase, immediately as card resolves, you get to normal summon a Wind monster, and also you can't special monsters from your extra deck for the rest of the turn except Wind monsters. And you can banish a Wind Synchro monster from your extra deck, and then reveal 2 Speedroid monsters with different names in your deck whose total level equal the level of the Synchro monster, and your opponent can randomly pick one of them and add it to your hand. And if you do, you send the other one to the graveyard. So it's a really good play to be able to send cards to grave while also getting a search. So this card is a great 2-of in the deck. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really fun deck to be able to play with. I really love the way that basically you can just climb into all sorts of different Wind Synchro monsters and be able to just completely control the board with copies of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and just how consistent the deck is. The deck is super consistent and really, really fun to play. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come part of our notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.